Understanding feelings is one of the most powerful leverages you can have, because when you learn how to work with people's feelings, you can really create a lot of decisions in your favor. So let's get into this. Here is the MANTD, or the MANT system. It stands for motivation, anxiety, narrative, tension, and desire. And the idea is that once we have all our base needs taken care of, it's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's just another framework. Once we have baseline motivations like hunger taken care of, then we can move on to more identity-driven stuff. And what they've identified was that there are actually only 6 axes of human emotions. So we either feel pride or shame, control, helplessness, safety or threat, belonging or isolation, hope or resignation, and relief and tension. And from these 6 building blocks come all our other feelings. So the feelings that we're trying to create, the feelings of openness, the feelings of trust, and the feelings of engagement, they are, because they have some level of feeling safe, feeling belonging, feeling hope. That's why they're being open. That's why they're engaging. So we'll come back to this, because understanding how this works is crucial. But when we talk about feelings, one distinction that we want to know is that we're identifying, are we creating a feeling that is causing forward momentum so that they're going to start a behavior that we're trying to do, so that we can get them to decide on making the change we want them to make? Or is it going to stop them? Is it going to cause them to avoid, to be distrustful, and to reject whatever change that we have to offer them? All right, so keep that in mind. And how that happens is, again, like starting, the feelings of openness, trust, and engagement come from positive shifts in this direction, versus the feelings of stopping are if you feel shame, if you feel helpless, if you feel like there's a threat, if you feel like they're not for you, then it's going to move this way and cause you to stop. So we're trying to create shifts in this direction. The second thing about shifts is that it can cause desire and higher pricing. So this is one of the fascinating things about feelings, is that not just does it, I mean, feelings are the basis for desire, obviously, but that means that we can charge higher pricing, not because we're more competent, but actually like our function, not because there's anything crazy about that, but it's simply because we're playing with feelings. We're helping them feel better, that we can charge more. The function can stay the same, but just because we improve their feelings, they're going to desire it more, and therefore, as a result, we can price higher. So there is a concept of a strange loop, which is something that impacts another thing, which impacts that thing, which impacts the other thing. And you've probably noticed a lot of these loops as we've looked at marketing. But another loop is that marketing will impact your price. So if you have very good marketing, you're able to manage the feelings, and you're ultimately able to create a price that is higher than you typically would be able to, because you're not a commodity anymore. So marketing increases your price. But as your price increases, that changes what? That changes the story that changes the meaning, because that is a functional signal. When you probably know people who compare things just based on price. The price becomes the differentiating factor for them. So price will also affect your marketing, and you get a positive upward spiral, which is great for us. So this is why we want to engage with working with feelings as well. So one last note before I show you some examples here. Our commodities focus on function, not feelings. So if you're ever feeling like you're not making progress, and you've just been like, how do we get better at like providing the service? How do we get better at the function? That maybe isn't where you want to be looking anymore. Like if you think about, let's say, a steak versus like a crazy expensive steak. So if you go to a very nice restaurant, you might get a steak for $70, $80. Let's say for our sake, it's just a $100 steak. It's going to be very good, but chances are it's not going to do too much here. They're able to charge $100 rather than maybe like $30 or $40 at a different restaurant, because there is some level of identity shifts eating at that $100 restaurant. But how about a steak that costs $1,000? Like the whole, it's not a steak anymore at that point. It's feelings. Like the events are different. It's not like the restaurant comes and presents you a steak. There is a whole show, and the entire restaurant knows that you ordered a $1,000 steak. The shifts that are happening when we do that, when we engage at the feelings level, now that person is looking at more of pride, right? That restaurant is selling him on pride. Maybe some sort of belonging, maybe some sort of feeling of control, like feeling like he has a lot of disposable income. Whatever it is, when we focus on feelings, we can create more desire, which we can use to increase our prices. So look at this graph, and the ultimate goal is to see how we can work our events, how we can tweak the culture, status, and past experience using semiotics to create meanings and feelings that, like, oh, this means that it's going to give me more pride or give me more control or more safety or more belonging. So that the feeling is I want it, so that when it comes to the decision, they're in a more of a forward momentum. So that's feelings. I hope you see the power in it. When we decide to work with feelings and not just function, you're not just a dentist. You're here to provide these feelings. You're here to provide a feeling of safety. If you can provide that better than someone, now you're working, regardless of what your function is. Think of the events you could do to provide that emotional feeling of safety. Think of how they can feel more in control. You're not going to go in and do things that you never discussed. You're going to break it down, discuss exactly what's going to happen, so they feel in control, so they can be the one to pull the trigger and say, let's do it. How can you get them towards pride? So not only is it how can we move them this way, how can we get them away from this, right? So I might be dealing feelings of safety, but I can also say, hey, this is going to get you away from threat. This is going to get you away from shame. This is going to actually make people want to talk to you more or something. Yeah, I think you get the point.